Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apax Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apax Lab mineral concentrates. Apax Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apax Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apaxlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought he was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good. Oh, we're recording? Hi.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
First episode in the books. Welcome back to Coffee Break. Sorry, Liam. I thought normally you introduce this, but I got excited because I got a new co-host.
It's okay. I missed you, so I'll let you have it.
And the exciting thing is we're recording this a week after recording the actual episode, but I'm going to pretend like it just happened. How was that first episode for you, Ben?
Well, now I'm fully recovered, so it's all good. What's a little, dive into the first podcast, or shake it out.
And
good.
Little teaser for next week, we have amazing business entrepreneur Dan Dick on the show. And I threw you in the deep end and just went, hey, Dan's coming in, jump in on the podcast. And you were a little like hesitant, like, well, come on, guys, I've just come in right off the bat. But stood in and did an amazing job, and it's a great episode. So I'm excited to listen to it.
Look, it was easy with Dan there. He was such a great presenter.
He's a great chatter.
Yeah.
Great chatter. I thought today we could kind of just talk about, now that we've got, a new co-host on deck, what we kind of see for the future, what gets us going about coffee, and just kind of set the precedent for what this podcast can kind of be about and what we see it growing into.
Yeah, cool.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect. What gets us going? I thought I'd start. I'm so stoked to have you come in for a few reasons. I think you're going to open so many doors to so many amazing guests and opportunities and that kind of thing for us. But in coffee, I think a mentor is a really important thing. So when I was working in cafes, and this is advice for anyone working in a cafe, always work somewhere where there's at least one or multiple people that know a lot more than you do, because you learn so quickly, you take on so much. I always think that's so valuable. And after starting Golden Brown and having my kind of coffee business and a lot of its media, it kind of was a bit of an isolating hub where I was kind of stuck by myself a little bit. So part of starting this podcast for me was about meeting those new people and opening my world a bit more to that. I think you're going to be great with the amount of experience that you bring. I think I can learn so much. And along with the along with the people listening to the show, I'll be able to ask a lot of great questions, but also the people that we're going to bring on. I think both of us can learn a lot. I think we're both coming into this with a mindset of curiosity, right? And that
it's a dangerous thing sometimes.
Yeah, it might kill your cat, but we're going to enter the mindset with a mindset of curiosity. So, I think I'm excited to learn and to really bring in a lot of amazing people that we can meet. What are you excited about coming into it?
I mean, I'm really feeling a lot of those same vibes there. I think the idea of learning from others is like core to kind of how I approach things as well. There's so many incredible people in the coffee industry, and I think our community is really generous as well. A lot of people, if you approach them and you genuinely want to learn, they're going to share so much knowledge and information with you. And we all do fall into those bubbles, right? And we've got to pop those bubbles, get out of them, grow our context, challenge ourselves sometimes, have a few little uncomfortable conversations. But I think we can really kind of grow a lot from that. And I think this is such a cool opportunity for us to really look at like some complex topics and some ideas and maybe pull them apart a little bit with some great guests and come up with some useful information that we can all go out and apply. So I'm excited about chatting with some great people.
Absolutely. I think we could talk a little bit about like we're really professional here, if you didn't know. We've had brand strategy days where we sit down with a whiteboard and jot out the stuff. But coming from you're someone that's listened to the pod before, stepping in, new dynamic, new feels, what are kind of some of the things that we want to do moving forward with this podcast? Like what can people kind of expect from it, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think you guys have done such a great job in kicking off this podcast. It's been going – no, really. Take it.
Okay, if you say so.
But honestly, the tone and the conversation of it has just been so enjoyable and welcoming. And I think that's a really important thing for the coffee industry. You kind of don't want to gatekeep things. You don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. Otherwise, we're just restricting ourselves and our community. So I think that's been really kind of great. But I think like listening to it, as you said, we've done a little bit of like, okay, where do we want to take this? What would be useful for both ourselves and the coffee community? And I think that idea that I just kind of mentioned about let's take some of the complex ideas or even some of the foundational ideas and pull them apart a little bit with some of these great guests that we can get on. I'm excited to kind of return to some topics that maybe I actually haven't been in amongst for a long time. You know, I definitely started my time off as a barista slinging flat whites day after day, but it's been a while since I've been on the bar. You know?
I know. We were back from the days of there was, no puck presses and we were tamping by ourselves. Our annoying order used to be a chai latte. Now it's a matcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope I've, broken down my my muscle memory of the old school dosing grinders with the tap, 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 tap. We don't want any of that. So
for those new young'uns listening, like back in the day, you don't know what it was like. We used to have a trigger on the side of our grinder where we'd pull it and dose coffee into it. And then the way that we measured with a scale, get out of here.
Nah.
No, we'd get a finger or a knife and just drag it along the top until it was flat. And that was the perfect dose.
But I think it's kind of a perfect like little example of there's always more to learn. Things are always progressing. We want things to progress, right? So that we can actually drive our industry forward and find ways that are sustainable and more exciting and engaging. But, we started dosing that way because back in the day, before specialty really took its movement, we were working with grinders that were full up of pre-ground coffee. You pull a lever once or twice, it will get you a measured dose of coffee and you tamp that and extract it and away you go. And then there was that progression to like a workaround for actually let's get a bit grind fresh, get it in the basket in a consistent manner. And now we've kind of progressed further and further, and who knows where things will emerge and go next. And I think that's almost like where we want to be talking, right, is around that cusp of what's the good standards now and where could things go?
Yeah, and what's really important, because even though like what we were doing back in the day now seems so ridiculous with pulling the lever and flattening it off, I'm like, at the end of the day, water through coffee. I still made some pretty banging coffees doing that old school method, as ridiculous as it was. So I think one of the things that we want to create here is value for you, the listeners, and make sure that we dive into something that we did with Golden Brown, where it's like, let's take ideas from baristas and break it down for home baristas. And like, here's simply how you can apply this knowledge and use it at home to get great results. I think for the, coffee industry as a whole, like to our audience, we want to break it down and make sure that there's value that can be taken away from everyone that's listening.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we're here to have a good conversation and explore some of these incredible ideas that can shift the industry, but also to be inspired by some of the people that we can get on and have a good chat with. And
one of the other things that I'm excited to explore is we have this beautiful AI-generated picture of you that we did for a reel, for the introduction reel of you as the new co-host. If you haven't seen it, if you're not watching on YouTube now, go to our Instagram and check out the video to see the beautiful drawing. But we can also use this as a bit of a date marker just to see how AI progresses, because every month or so I just want to do a new AI-generated picture of you.
Oh, really?
And just see how we can evolve them and see how AI changes in the coming months. And, of course, there was Liam's beautiful stick image of you.
That was great.
That was probably the most beautiful if he's going to hold it up.
To be fair, look, that I can't even claim that.
I would know that's you.
I feel a strong connection to that.
Yeah. I did give it a crack, but, it was a bit too courthouse.
Look, the AI one is flattering and terrifying at the same time.
I don't know. I'm very attracted to it.
Right. So, you can have it.
No, I will. Don't worry. Framed above my bed. And one other thing that I think is cool is, like, obviously both of us are from Melbourne, but you have traveled the world. You're at every show. You're working with international brands. Like, so many people internationally. So I'm really excited to get that different perspective and to share the different perspective of how coffee is being done all around the world. I know that's one of the most exciting things that I get to share, showing how different countries are making their coffee. So not only that, but what the culture of coffee is like in those different countries. The other day, I made horchata and made a coffee version of it.
Delicious.
So good. Yeah. Unbelievable. And, if you want to steal this idea, you can. I don't know how feasible financially it is, but I realized when you make horchata, which is, for those not listening, they have it all around the world in different countries, but I made a Mexican style one, which is with like white rice, water and cinnamon, and you basically blend it up. I put in some almonds. You blend it up, and then you add condensed milk, bit of vanilla, and you can add more water, but I just did straight milk. I just added nothing but milk to mix it. And what I did afterwards was I was like, I wonder if this will steam on an espresso machine. Oh, it steams and it pours. And it's like the Mexican cinnamon like mocha kind of thing, like in that like sweet world of chocolate meets coffee. This is like that cinnamon rich rice textural thing meets coffee. And I was like, that would be a banging drink. If you were in a cafe and you could be like, I want a horchata flat white for an extra 50 cents or whatever. It was bloody good.
It sounds pretty delicious.
Yeah.
It sounds good. And is it just like a fancy alternative milk? Is that
it's like
milk?
the new rice milk.
It's the new rice milk.
Yeah, exactly. It's just rice milk with a bit of cinnamon.
Yeah, popped up. Yeah, look, I think I've been, as you're kind of saying, I've had the real privilege to travel a lot with my coffee career. And I think you mentioned mentors at the beginning of this about, people that we can all learn from. And I've had an opportunity to meet a huge range of people from lots of different parts of the coffee world. And I think that's what I'm excited to kind of bring back to this show as well, is open access to a lot of those folks and to meet new people for myself. We might not all have opportunities to travel and to connect with those, but again, that community is really generous. I've kind of connected with them because they've opened up to me and have shared their experience. And if we can share that with the audience for the podcast, I think that'll be really great.
Absolutely. Also, your knowledge of like being a judge at World Barista Championships. If we decide to get Liam in on this AeroPress Championships, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Bring it to bear.
I've noticed, so date-wise, I think Australia or in New Zealand, it's happening in like July. too soon for us to get rolling. I reckon this is our like year marker. We've got a year to turn you into a World AeroPress champion.
The deadline's on.
And now you got a sensory judge. So it's going to be next level with that.
Okay.
And then another thing that I was excited about is just really looking at coffee tools from whatever level or how you use them in a way of like what's needed, what's not, who's it for and that kind of thing. Like diving into that different kind of, doesn't have to be accessories. I guess it can go across like the whole industry, but just things for baristas where it's like going from the top and trickling down and like, what do you actually need as the end user?
You know, I'd even expand that, I reckon, is that we want to kind of look at the tools and the techniques across all parts of the industry there. So whether you're a roaster or a barista, or maybe you're a cafe owner or a bit like a business owner, is there are the physical tools, but maybe there's like these techniques or skills or methodologies that can be used, and we can kind of break those down. What's actually going to make a difference? I think that's the key point that you're talking about there, is like there's so many things out there, so many different competing ideas. So if we can use this as a bit of a focus to pull some of those apart and go, what's actually going to change and who are you changing it for, right? Because I think we've talked and we had a really great conversation with Dan as well on the podcast directly after ours.
On next week's pod.
Yeah. So, you know, the idea of like, who are you serving with this activity or this you know, action that you're taking?
Yeah.
Is it to make something better for your customer? Is it to make your business operate better? Or is it just kind of because you're interested in it and maybe it's not really that applicable?
God, we hired the right guy. Look at this. He's already given sizzle for next week's episode.
No.
He's like, which also brings me into chatting with Dan Dick.
And here's the segue.
That was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Amazing. I you know, we're going to keep building this out, and we've got another, you know, not too much of a peek behind the curtain. We've got another session coming up in this week where we're really going to dive into all the things that we're going to create, but also open book. Again, we've always said this for the listeners, but I want you to message, and I want you, when we share these ideas, to let us know what you think. You can do that. Probably easiest, you know, is at the socials, just giving us a DM on Instagram. It's just Coffee Pod. But you can also send us an email if you're more inclined of writing a longer, more thought-provoking piece. You know, you can hit us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. And then, is there anywhere else that can hit us? Oh, I was going to give out your mobile. So if you call him on 041... Cut that out. I did have some friends who ran a podcast who one of them gave out the number of the other co-hosts as like, it's Comedy Podders. And he just left it for years. And every live show, they'd just be getting calls.
Nice.
Insanity. But it wouldn't be right to have an episode without bringing you in on a little tradition of a extra hot take with 2 sugars.
What? Oh, what?
So we haven't had a hot take from you, so I thought I'd spin it across and be like, do you have a hot take for us?
Ooh, the hot takes. Look, I think going with the theme of what we've been talking about with this podcast and what we want to do with it, I think my hot take might be that we as coffee professionals are really good at talking with other coffee professionals, ironically, as we talk about this on our coffee professional show here, but we're not so great at translating that out to the customer. And I guess I just mean that we're really comfortable talking with each other about technique or about, you know, our day at work and what we're doing. But we kind of lose some opportunity, I think, there in creating value, connecting with the consumer. And it's a big topic at the moment. How do we create value? How do we engage with people? And how do we justify to people the difference in price maybe in the cup of coffee? And I think there's a real danger sometimes of coffee almost falling into that commodity space of it's an interchangeable product. You walk into like the top specialty cafe in a country, order a flat white. Is it just like a flat white from the next place? Is there any more information? What else is saying this is better quality? And even when you look at some detailed kind of coffee service, so you're talking about, you know, if you walk in and you're asking for a filter coffee, sometimes people are letting that slip a little bit, and the opportunity to create more value for very obviously engaged coffee drinkers is lost. So you walk in and say, oh, what have you got on filter coffee today? What have you got on the batch brew?
Oh, maybe it's the Colombian. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. No, it's Kenyan.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kenyan.
Yeah. And then you say, okay, well, I'll have the Kenyan then, I guess.
Oh,
And
sorry, it's empty.
Yeah. Damn it. But it's served out without maybe any more information or lacking. And I'm not saying all cafes are doing this. There's some incredible examples of people creating beautifully detailed service experiences that make you come away going, oh man, I got that cup of coffee, but I got all this stuff around it. But I just think it's something that's really worthwhile for us all to keep focusing on is like, how do we actually engage with people, especially when they signal you and go, I'm seeing you.
I think that's the key. It has to how do you get and train all of your staff to be in this mindset of I know when someone's indicating that they like coffee and want to know more, or when they just want to get their caffeine fix and get out the door. Because it is a hard product to sell when there is X% that just want their coffee and their routine and their caffeine, and there are people that want an experience. So picking up on those differences can be tough, especially if it's needs to be trained across every single person that's selling the coffee at that spot. I feel like that's where douchey there are certain drinks, right? As douchey as a magic was.
Yep.
When someone would order it, I'd be like, oh, it must be a coffee person. Mm-hmm. Okay, do they want this one? Do they want the single origin? Do they want, whatever it is?
Yep.
And same with the pour over V60. At that time, it was like, oh, this person's into coffee. You know, there were little signifiers to give a little bit more. Or
well, you think about it when you go into a really great wine bar or a cocktail bar, and you're sitting there, and obviously some people are going to go into a wine bar and just want the house red, right? And it's no problem with that. It's like, this is hospitality. Give them a good service experience.
I order a Cosmo.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
no judgment.
Yeah, what do you think they'd think if I walked in and ordered the Cosmo?
I think he's exploring the fringes of the cocktail. But I think you have to read your audience, and we don't want to return to those days where people are shoving information down consumers' throats even when they weren't interested, right? Like, here's a list of data about this coffee, and they're just like, it's to go. I've got to get back to the office. Like, stop it. But I think that at the same time, we've got to read the people and kind of add that value back in.
Well said. Well said. Well, I think that about brings us to the end of our first coffee break with Ben Bicknell. What a moment. I'm going to go home and frame this beautiful picture of you, and I'll
never
sleep
to be seen again.
Soundly. Yeah, never again. It's mine now. But yeah, I think I'm so excited to have you here. I think our promise to the coffee world is that we're always going to provide something of value, something that you can take away and really apply to your own life. I'm going to talk to some of the best people. So I'm super excited to start this journey. Liam, are you excited?
I'm so excited. It's nice to have two faces at the table. And
what, three faces? You're at the table. You've got your own little side table.
I'm here.
But, you got the little kids table over there. He's got his little hot dogs and sausage rolls and everything while the rest of the family has the full Christmas dinner.
Yeah. Now I'm over here with Woody. I'm excited. This is going to be, new chapter. I feel like we've just been in practice, and now we're going to take our main strides, It's
and to finish us off on a great note, what's your favorite thing about me, Ben?
Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Well, you're giving off some great dad vibes. The dad vibes are very strong right now. So, I'm feeling safe. I'm feeling like you'll catch me if I fall.
Yeah, you are my beautiful little baby. And on that note, we'll see you next week.
Boy.